The tripod in the tripod project is content, pedagogy, and relationships. Those are the three legs of the tripod. Teachers need to have a good handle on the content they're teaching. They need to have ways of presenting it to students in ways that students can understand. That's pedagogy. And they need to be able to connect with students in ways that students aren't afraid to ask questions and want to help keep the class orderly. So the idea of the tripod project is to support teachers and schools in strengthening all three legs of the tripod. This work has evolved over the last 12 years, beginning in Shaker Heights, Ohio, in an effort to just do professional development, really. It's only been very recently that we've started to get more involved with trying to support teacher evaluation in addition, but the most important use is to help set professional development priorities. The 7 C's is the way that we represent what high quality instruction looks like, and it captures most of what people talk about when they talk about quality teaching. 5 of the C's are what we call the support C's, and 2 of the C's are what we call the press C's. The 5 support C's are, first of all, caring, and here the notion of caring is that a teacher signals to students that actually matters to the teacher, it actually matters to the teacher that the students are having a good day, that they're emotionally in a good mood, that they're learning and feeling good about it. That's care. The second is captivate, making it interesting, stimulating, relevant. The third is confer, that the teacher interacts with the student, confers with them to elicit their point of view, gets feedback on how well the class is going and maybe ways to make it better. The fourth is clarify, which means the teacher might have multiple ways of explaining things and explain difficult things clearly enough so that students can understand. And the fifth is consolidate, which has to do with checking for understanding, summarizing things, projecting forward, trying to bring it together in a way that it really feels coherent and is easy to understand and remember. Now those are the 5 support C's. The 2 C's that have to do with press are challenge and control. And with challenge, what we're talking about is challenging students to both think hard and work hard. So rigor and effort. So when it gets hard, so an example of an item on challenge for effort would be, my teacher accepts nothing less than our best effort. An example on rigor would be, my teacher wants us to really understand the material, not just memorize things. All right, so that's challenge. Then control is an orderly classroom. So it's not about a dictator who's mean and brutal in the class. It's about someone who, about whom the students would say, our teacher makes sure that we stay busy and don't waste a lot of time. We behave the way my teacher wants us to. We treat one another with respect in our classroom. So it's a classroom that's under control. It might not be a quiet classroom. It might be a really busy classroom where there's chatter and making noise, but it's the kind of classroom the teacher wants it to be. The teacher has control of the classroom. CMS's data are very typical of data in other places where we've done the survey. There is great variation across classrooms. The classrooms at the bottom end of the continuum in terms of the students' ratings have a lot of room to grow. On the other end, there are some classrooms that are rated very highly by the students. And one of the things that I'm learning from the analysis I'm doing these days, right now, is that the students' ratings do help to predict how much they learn. And the students' ratings are also correlated with the observer ratings on the 5 state standards that the state has gotten. So part of what we're doing here is to triangulate different measures of teaching effectiveness to get the story of the classroom for each teacher. And we want to do that not just, or not even mainly, to give people a hard time and hold people accountable. We want to do that to identify ways to improve so that both the teacher and the students can have a better experience in the classroom. I think if a teacher gets their feedback, they should look not only at what the ratings are on the individual items that we report, but at the relationships across the ratings on different items. So what is the story of my classroom, for example? Is my classroom one where the students rate me really high on control, but they rate me pretty low on care and confer? So it seems like maybe I'm intimidating them into learning in my classroom. They don't think I care about them, they don't think I interact, but they do think I keep a really busy classroom. On the other hand, is my classroom the opposite of that? Do they rate me really high on care, but very low on control? Okay. Do they rate me really low on clarify, but high on challenge? Or is the class a happy place to be? Okay, this class is a happy place to be is one of the items on the survey. And so if you're finding that the class is a really happy place to be, but you're being rated pretty low on control and challenge and maybe even clarify, then you got a happy classroom, but they may not be learning a lot. If on the other hand, it's not a happy place to be at all, but you rate it really high on challenge and clarify, you might even get really good test score growth, but is that the way you want to produce test score growth? You know, intimidate the students into improving their skills over time. So you're looking to see whether there's balance in the results, and you're also looking to see if there are any areas on which you rate particularly low that you really need to set as priorities to work on, or areas where you rate particularly high, where you need to figure out what it is you're doing that would lead the kids to rate you that highly, and maybe you know something that other people need to know. Okay, we need to find ways to share across our professional learning communities those things that we are doing most effectively in our own classrooms. So to summarize all that, I encourage people to try to distill the story of their classroom. I mean, if you were to look at these results and then talk for 2 or 3 minutes on what kind of classroom this is, what would that talk entail? And what implications might it have for the ways that you could actually improve?